generally are managing at the moment. Perhaps sounds like a slightly bizarre, not a bizarre thing to ask, but a very, very broad brush thing to ask. But we do want to know how medics are coping through all of this. In particular, let's focus for a few minutes on GPs, because I'm joined by Dr. Anshu, who is a GP who also runs a private on-demand GP service. And thanks for your time at a very busy time. I'm curious, first of all, how your GP practice is coping, but in terms of what it's doing to your staff. Are you at full complement? How have the last few weeks been for you?
Thank you and good afternoon. So I'm an NHS GP in North London in Enfield, but I'm in a unique position. I'm in a unique position where not only do we run NHS practice, but as you mentioned, we run an organisation, GPDQ, which has GPs up and down the country, where we're having to really mobilise all of our GPs. And we've dedicated all of our GP workforce to really get into the world of remote consulting. And I think that's one of the biggest changes that have happened immediately. I think in terms of your question around how are we doing in my own practice, it's tough. We run 3 surgeries. We've had to close one of them down purely because we're 3 staff down. So this is administrative staff. We're 2 clinicians down. We were 4 clinicians down. 2 of them have come back. So you can start to understand it really does put pressure on the system, where we all want to remain safe so that we can continue to provide a great service to our patients. I think the entire landscape has changed. You know, we've really been thrown into remote consulting for the good. And I think, you know, the future of general practice will not be the same. I think when we get through to the other side of this, I think primary care will certainly look different and feel different. And one of the biggest challenges we have now, especially if we look at the statistics, around 25% of the frontline workforce is at home isolating. One of the challenges that I'm really interested in doing is how do we get, certainly not those that are clearly acutely unwell, but we have a lot of doctors. For example, one of my doctors now, he was unwell, but he still has to self-isolate, but now is completely well. And we're trying to mobilize that level of workforce to start remote consulting. So it is a challenge, and the challenge continues. And I think, you know, the next 2 or 3 weeks is definitely going to be a critical point.
And what are your patients saying to you? Are there some that are very receptive to the idea of a remote consultation? And I'm conscious as well that we talk as if everyone has access to laptops and video conferencing and so on, and you must have patients who just don't have that access.
No, you're absolutely right. And to be honest, I think all credit to our patients. They've taken to this really, you know, like a duck to water. And I think we've been doing telephone consultations for the last 25 years. So ever since I've certainly been a doctor, we've been doing telephone consultations. And I think video is just really one step up from that. It certainly gives us a few more diagnostic tools. When we look at patients, you can see how they actually generally look, and you can do some basic examinations as well. So patients have been fantastic, and I think they've all really accepted the fact that this is what we've got to do. I still have access to my doctor, and to be fair, I think they've probably never had such clear immediate access. Given the amount of face-to-face that's come down, we're really in a position where we can offer quite rapid access, whether it be through video or, like you said, there's a lot of people that don't have smartphones, and certainly a lot of our elderly population we continue to do by phone. I think the challenge remains here where, whilst we are telling everyone to sort of isolate at home, there is a huge housebound population, which really, you know, that's probably one of my biggest concerns, is how do we go in to treat patients that potentially are COVID or presenting with COVID symptoms? How do we get to them? And how do we get to them safely, not just for the patients, but also for us as frontline staff? So that's one of the challenges that we're really trying to get to grips with at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Anshu there in North London. Thank you very much for telling us about your experiences, and all the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.